Hello everyone, this is Timothy Mark with Alexandria.
Greetings everybody, nice to have you along for another show.
And so we are the Tickle Trunk of Horror show. The Gmail for us is tickletrunkofhorrors@gmail.com. There's a Twitter account, although I'm not very active on the Twitter account, every once in a while. And so I do post things on there, and the website is www.tickletrunkofhorrors.com. And so and that theme song was by Ryan Duttery out of the UK. You can visit his site at ryanduttery-music.com, and he's in the UK again. He's also got a YouTube channel. So we're going to start talking about a little bit about Amethyst here in a minute, and the reason why that is because our guest today is Bodhi Paranormal. I believe I'm pronouncing that right, maybe I'm not, but they actually sent Alexandria a amethyst necklace.
Well, before we go into that and before I go into amethyst, have you personally ever been to Wyoming?
No.
Maybe a lot of our listeners have not been to Wyoming. I have when I was a child, but I was quite small. I really don't remember. We used to travel around in an RV, take off every summer. So before we go into our very, very special guest, Bodhi Paranormal, they're out of Byron, Wyoming. And I was actually so thrilled to enter a contest on Twitter. Actually, what they were doing is they were celebrating 300 followers on Twitter, and you were entered into a contest for a wonderful handmade amethyst protection pendulum, and it was made from rocks right in Wyoming. I wasn't even familiar that they even had amethyst in Wyoming, and I was a lucky winner, and I received it today, and it just blew me totally away. But before we go into our special guest, I sort of want to touch on the extreme power of amethyst. And you know, I'm an amethyst lover, collector. I actually have an amethyst pillar on quartz, and I've loved amethyst. I mean, I love purple as much as I love black. And for all you out there that may not be familiar with amethyst, amethyst has healing powers that help with physical ailments, emotional issues, and energy healing, and with chakra balancing. So really, amethyst crystal therapies are primarily associated with the physical ailments of the nervous system, and actually you can actually use amethyst to cure nightmares and insomnia. Can't even talk tonight. Blah blah. Maybe I should. Can't even talk. And it's for balancing the crown chakra, if you're into your chakra, balancing of the chakra. So that's information on everybody who may not know anything about amethyst. But another fact too, just like fluorite, amethyst is really a meditative and calming stone, which works again in the emotional, spiritual, physical planes to really promote calm, balance, and peace. And if you know somebody in your life that is extremely impatient, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Amethyst also can be used to eliminate impatience. And again, you may not be aware of as well that the Romans used amethyst. They thought that amethyst could cure drunkenness. And around 1250 to 300, even the Greeks named the purple quartz amethyst, meaning not intoxicated or intoxicating. They seem to deem this, it was based on the gem's seeming ability to again prevent drunkenness. And the name amethyst and the amethyst crystal meaning is tied to Dionysus, which is the Greek god of intoxication, and it was known as Bacchus to the Romans. So some known facts in regards to amethyst. And again, if you're suffering from stress, anxiety, and really, who isn't, folks? I mean, all you have to do is turn on the news, plaster it all over social media. It's nothing but stress, anxiety with what's going on in the world. And again, amethyst is an interesting gem for anxiety and stress, and to calm your nerves. And wearing a therapeutic amethyst necklace can help bring the nervous system into balance and help reduce the negative effects of stress. So a lot of you may not know that, and it's really as simple as just carrying a piece of amethyst in your pocket. And I used to do that all the time, as well as having amethyst. And I was going for a job interview or anything like that, I would rub the amethyst, and it would help me get rid of the stress, etc. Did you know anything about amethyst?
No, I do not.
So more so again on amethyst, and again, a lot of people, if you're looking for homeopathic stress release or anxiety, there's a lot of shops, metaphysical shops, crystal shops that carry amethyst. And I can tell you, when I received the package today in regards to the amethyst protection necklace, it was actually handmade and it was wound in silver. It really blew me away, and I could tell you it's just wonderful to receive that. And a lot of you, in regards to, if you're into paranormal research or you're into different things in regards to the spiritual realm, you may have your own things that you use in regards to your spiritual toolkit. I really call it a toolkit, a metaphysical spiritual toolkit. And we all have you know, anything that we carry in there in regards to protection. A lot of people will use salt for protection, sage for protection, and then again,
well, I think that's on two completely different levels now, because when you're going into like amethyst and you're equating it with salt.
No, I'm just protection. Saying it's not on the same level, but it's just one tool in the kit.
Right, and salt is definitely a higher potency for protection, especially when you're doing an exorcism of a home or property or anything of that nature. You definitely would want to use salt. Where I've never heard of anybody crushing up amethyst.
No, I mean for everyday protection, you keep a piece of amethyst in your pocket. Right. You're going to stressful situations, you wear an amethyst pendant around your neck. You have an amethyst keychain. So that's everyday protection. That's not on the level of going into demonic or even exorcism or doing a paranormal investigation, where really, in my mind, it can't hurt to have a little piece of amethyst as well. And again, we talked about insomnia as well. I can't even speak. And bringing around a restful sleep. Sleeping with amethyst helps facilitate an out-of-body experience and brings about intuitive dreams. And I know a lot of you, and I've done this myself in the past, you can even place under your pillow a little piece of amethyst, and it'll help again with insomnia and for nightmares. And if you have a lot of nightmares, you can use amethyst as well. And in regards to chakras, the silver pattern is a common symbol that is used to activate the crown chakra. And amethyst, again, is the premier spiritual stone, providing purifying, healing, protective energies to help clear, open, and balance the crown chakra. So that's where the whole aspect of protection comes into play in regards to, I mean, you really got to be careful when you're trying to clear, open, and balance your crown chakra, for all of those people that are into chakra as well.
Okay, so that's a lot on Amethyst, which is good. So I hope we was informative, or you was informative on that to all the people listening out there. And yeah.
So, you know, before we head into today's guest, which is Bodhi Paranormal, you know what, we like to touch on a lot of subjects in regards to things that are going on in the world. And I know probably a lot of you are saying, you know, you're getting so sick and tired of hearing about these priests abusing all these children. And you know, Timothy and I had a discussion today about that, and he brought something to the forefront that really angered me. I don't know if you want to elaborate to our listeners out there.
Yeah, one of the Pope's closest aides actually came out, and I know a lot of people that's on social media has probably already seen this, but came out and said that the Pope was actually doing a cover-up to protect these priests that were molesting children out there. One of the things that I wanted to say is I'm actually a Judeo-Christian preacher, and I've started a Facebook page called Mules for the Lord. You can go on there and find that one. It's got videos on there if anybody's want to do Bible studies or anything like that. And I've always been against Catholicism, and I think now with social media being what it is, we're starting to see how corrupt Catholicism is, and the people that are the heads of that organization, such as the Catholic Church, and even it goes all the way to the Pope. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a hard time digesting the Pope. I mean, the Pope is supposed to be the head of the Catholic Church, and here he is covering up, lying. And how hypocritical is that you're supposed to lead millions and millions of followers, and you cannot even you know, you're trying to instill values in regards to your followers, and here you are knowing about all the sexual abuse, the torture that your priests have and cardinals that are covering up. How can this Pope literally look himself in the mirror, wake up every day, and feel okay about leading the millions of Catholics around the world? You know, I know when we go back to hundreds of years ago with the Inquisition, with the church killing, hanging, murdering innocent women, for God's sakes, I really don't know what this Pope is still doing as a Pope, pontiff, whatever the heck you want to call it, because he is really an embarrassment to the Catholic Church, and I really can't subscribe.
Well, no, it's pretty much the way it is for the Catholic Church. You know, it's just now coming to light about the thousands and thousands of young boys that have been molested by priests. So it's not that it's an embarrassment for the Catholic Church, it's the way the Catholic Church is. And I know that we'll get a lot of listeners that probably are Catholics that don't like us saying that, but it's a fact. I mean, we didn't make it up. We didn't create the stories. The stories are out there, and the stories are based on actual events. And the church has actually admitted to a lot of molestation cases they've actually confirmed and admitted to.
Well, this is just, it's made headlines in America, but let's educate our listeners out there in Canada with the residential schools, and then them uncovering several mass graves of hundreds of not only babies, but hundreds of children that the Catholic priests, nuns abused, tortured, and threw into a mass pit in regards to the residential schools in Canada. And it just boggles my mind that people can sit there and just figure, oh well, it's just a little native Aboriginal child, who is going to miss them anyways? And you know what, in society, I would be ashamed to call myself a Catholic, and I know that's harsh, and I probably will get a lot of hate callers, but I'm sorry. Reality of the situation, folks.
Okay, let's switch gears and get off that molestation organization. You know, I was just participating in a VA town hall meeting today, and the thing about that is that they did not take my questions at all. They did not want to take my questions. Instead, they just only took elderly questions. And I had a lot of good questions for them, and they just didn't take it. And so the VA is definitely needing to still do some improvements out there. And, you know, to invite me to be a call-in guest at a town hall meeting with the director of the Central Texas VA and then refuse to take my questions is just absurd.
Yeah, it's just another prime example, folks, of a government agency that really needs a complete overhaul and needs a reminder that they are in operation to help the people, not just sit there at a desk and earn a massive paycheck and a massive pension. You're there to serve the people. And I know even all over social media you hear about veterans committing suicide daily. Well, for God's sakes, if you serve your country, there is no way that your country should turn its back on you.
It's over 20 veterans a day committing suicide in the United States, and that's a very high number of veterans. One of the problems that I wanted to address with the Central Texas VA system is the fact that they do not follow the HIPAA laws, which they should follow. This is just one of the questions that I have for them that I wanted to confront the director with. And you know, the nurses actually come out into the waiting room and basically talk about everything right out in the waiting room. And, you know, a lot of veterans just seem ignorant to that. Like, they just don't know that they can't do that, that you have a right to privacy. I know that I have a right to privacy, and they still do it. And the other issue that I wanted to address with them is the fact that they lose paperwork like crazy. And I want to send a shout out to Ben Flores. Is his name Ben or Bill? Mr. Congressman
Bill Flores.
Yeah, Bill Flores. His office is great. They've helped us a lot, and he's I definitely would like somebody like that to stay in office, because he's definitely looking out for the veterans.
And I think the key point too is that the congressman as well recognizes how flawed the American VA system is. He recognizes it, and he hopes to try and make an impact, and he really listens to his constituents, and that's very important, because a lot of people make election promises prior to being elected. Once they get into office, it's a whole different ball game. They've got another mask on, and the door is now closed to constituents. But Congressman Flores, we found, was you know, his office was approachable. They did things, and you know, they followed through, and that's what's needed again with the VA and a lot of other government agencies. Is that,
yeah, I like to say too, with the suicide thing going on with 20 veterans a day, is because they're not getting the proper treatment from the doctors, and they're not getting the proper mental health treatment. One of the things that I noticed with the VA is that they do not check hormone levels with males that are over 40 years old. They just won't do it, and that's a huge problem within the VA medical care system, because low testosterone in males could equal depression, severe fatigue, and things of that nature. And you know, the depression can get pretty bad, and for the VA to just not check the hormone levels or just laugh about it, and it's just a damn, you know, excuse me for saying damn, but it's just a damn joke within the VA system. And so that's something that's very I know that we're on different time than our guests. They're on, do they know that they're calling it
so yeah, they know what time to call. So yeah, we're just a matter of time. We're just a few mere moments before we're anticipating our call, so very, very shortly. And you know, just like any other government agency, there's good things to say about it, and there's bad things to say about it. So you know, we can only hope that people can make an impact, and you have to be in contact with your government officials, because that's the only way that we can get change. And change can come, and then again we can follow through on that, and then again hope for the better. And it's like that in any country of the world. I mean, you just have to keep at your government official, and again hoping that change will come, and we can anticipate it. But again, you know, we could talk about the VA, its problems forever and a day, and you know, it's just one thing after another. So just momentarily we're waiting for our caller to call, and we really can't
I'd like to talk about Zach Bagans' Demon House. You know, that's a very good show. It's a good film. I definitely would recommend it. Although we're only halfway through it, I would say that you know, I recommend it for people. I definitely like what I've seen so far, and I'll give another update here in the next podcast that we do. You know, let's send a shout out to you know, Ian Vero in the
residential
haunting. He's been a great friend of ours, and
he's in Hastings, UK, isn't he?
Yeah, and I would like to definitely get together with him one day, hopefully soon, you know.
Yeah, because I think Ian Vero from Residential Haunting, I mean, he would have a lot of stories to tell us in regards to you know, what goes on in the UK, and you know, one day we're going to make a trip to the UK and be able to share or swap paranormal stories, different locations that they've been on. And if you all remember, we discussed in the podcast the Battle of Hastings. So a lot of history there too.
And the thing with Residential Hauntings is they do a lot of private cases. So they do a lot of haunted cases that the people don't want to get out there. They don't want the stories to be out there. So they've done a lot of private. So they're definitely not in it for fame or publicity. They're definitely in it for the right reasons.
Like we are, to help people, genuinely help people that are sort of at a loss on what's happening in their lives.
Right, and so I would say, but you can check out a lot of our investigations on YouTube. We put a lot of them on there. So please subscribe, share the videos that you like, and get the word out there, folks. And
leave comments. We always encourage people, if you've watched one of our videos or if you listen to a podcast, put a comment. Let us know what you think about the case or some of the guests that we have. Very, very important that you know, we get feedback, because we always like to hear from people, and that's how you learn too. And they may have stories about interesting cases that you've come across as well. So, you know, we're waiting for our guest.
Here comes our guest right now. Hello, welcome to the Tickle Trunk of Horror Show. You're with Timothy,
Hello.
Mark, and Alexandria. How are you doing?
Yeah, this is Kristin with Bodhi.
Yeah, Bodhi. There you go.
Bodhi.
We were trying to figure out how to pronounce it, and it's Bodhi. That's how you pronounce it, right?
That's correct. Yeah, like the Bodhi tree.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Awesome.
Is this Kristin Belston?
Yes, this is Kristin.
It's so good to hear from you. And who else is joining you?
So we have Kiley on the other line from Midwest. Hello.
Hello.
Okay,
we
so
we have Dustin with us, who does a lot of the tours with me, and our new addition, Danny.
Oh, welcome everybody.
So what I want to get to is, because y'all are in Wyoming, and what I'd like to get to is, can you tell us what's the worst location in Wyoming paranormal wise?
What's the worst, as in has the most activity?
Yes.
Well, I think you can pretty much run into that anywhere in Wyoming. Fire Inn just happens to be extremely interesting in that category. We really haven't found anywhere that's not haunted yet.
Wow.
Okay, that's awesome. I would like to tell you that Alexandria did receive a gift from y'all today.
Oh, good. I'm glad it came.
Yeah, I received the Amethyst protection necklace, but more so than that, you know what? I really have to give kudos to you, because you really went above and beyond when I received this card. And I can tell you that not too many people send cards these days. And this card, and it's almost like one empath to another. And the card, I really sat there and I must have read it 4 or 5 times. And I was just very overwhelmed that somebody would take the time and the energy to actually write such a beautiful, heartfelt note in there. And I'm still looking at it right now, that it just bowled me completely over. And I have to say thank you. And then again, I have to say congratulations for the 300 followers on Twitter. And how did you come up with the idea of the raffle or the drawing for the Amethyst protection necklace?
Well, I wanted to offer something that could protect the people that come with us on the tour. It's one of the biggest demands that we've had since we started this, was what can we protect ourselves with? And, there's so much that we don't know about the paranormal and the unknown. So we just use the tools that we do know have worked for us personally.
Wow. So,
and I think the piggy on Kristin's statement is that since we've started this, it's been a love child since the beginning. We've realized that people who come and investigate with us, there are no 2 groups that are going to ever have the same experience. And it's just interesting to see the different energies that people bring with them, which is the type of activity we receive.
right.
We've gone from loving guardianship to just, it can be hateful in seconds. And it varies. And I think that's kind of where Kristin got the idea that, it's something they can take home with them.
And I think a part of the message that Kristin put in the card that really struck me is that you're trying to inspire family, strengthen community. So I think in the paranormal community, there needs to be more unity, and there needs to be more people working together, because we're all seeking basically the same answers, but in a different way.
Well, absolutely, and that stands for not just the paranormal family, but the world in general. We're so busy hating and judging that we don't see what our ancestors fought so hard to create, and we take it all for granted.
So let me ask you a question, because 2 of y'all are empaths, and what is Dusty? Is he an investigator?
Yes, she's the youngest one. She's still in high school. I actually met Dusty. He came on a tour with me, the very first tour I hosted, and we just hit it off right away. And I just knew that I had to invite her to be part of the experience.
Okay, that's awesome. As far as if you go back to your last, all right, let's take it back to y'all as children. I kind of want to talk to all 3 of y'all about this. Like, were y'all horror fans growing up?
Were we horror fans growing up?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Who isn't?
Right. One by one, can y'all tell me y'all's favorite horror movie?
This is Sandy, and mine has always been Poltergeist.
That's a great choice.
Mine is actually a little different. It's I can't remember if it was just barely in color. It may have been black and white. And it's The Changeling.
Oh, good one.
The Changeling.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
the Angelina
I think what started it for me was X-Files.
X-Files, that's a good one, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I've never seen The Changeling. I need to check that one out. If we go back to y'all's your last paranormal experience, how did that go for y'all?
On our most recent tour?
Well, I mean, all right, as kids, did y'all have Did y'all have paranormal experiences growing up? Did y'all ever see like spirits and things of that nature?
Yes, I mean, I did.
I did as well.
I never really saw anything, but when I'd always go to my great-grandma's house, she has a ghost she called Clementine, and she plays the piano, so it kind of just started with that.
Okay.
I did as well. I actually have, in my family history, my great-grandmother was a very strong psychic.
Wow, okay.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
So, when you say that you host guided paranormal investigations, can you tell our listeners out there what is a guided paranormal investigation entail? What's involved if they want to participate?
Oh, sure. So, I've actually been a part of other paranormal investigation groups, and the thing that was the hardest for me to understand was why the public couldn't get involved. As most of us know, it costs pretty good money to find an establishment that will allow us to conduct investigations.
Right.
And kind of just fell in my lap, a group of investors asked me if I would be interested in making that idea a business. And so that's what we did. We wanted the public to be able to see what we're doing, why we do it, and how we do it, and just kind of share the experience and use that to encourage one another to find ways to embrace our differences and find strength within that.
Well, that makes total sense, because a lot of people may not have that opportunity to participate.
Let me ask you this question: What's the most haunted location? Like, if we were to show up in Wyoming today, what's the most haunted location there?
Oh, wow. In our neck of the woods?
Yes.
Well, there's a lot of
I would say just like in our area.
The school in I have to say that the Byron Museum was actually the most, and that's how I came up with the name Bodhi, is actually, the definition is awakening or enlightenment. But walking through the Byron Museum was the most eye-opening, concrete evidence I had ever seen in my life.
Wow.
And the school isn't far behind it.
Can you describe what happened there?
It was almost as if, I don't know how to, it's one of those things you'd have to experience it to understand. It was almost as if I could see them through the emotion that they were sharing with me, I guess you could say. But I'd never, to that point in my life, had anything that strong happen. And we were able to back it all up with evidence as to who was where in the building, what they were like and what they were doing, and all of our recordings documented exactly what I had felt in that building that night.
Wow.
And a lot of what people don't realize about Wyoming is, yes, we are wide open spaces, and per capita we are the smallest state, but Wyoming is steeped in such deep history that nearly any region that you go into in Wyoming, you will find a location that is haunted, that people on the street will tell you about it. They will share their experiences, and we've been very fortunate with the Byron community that they're willing, to share their experiences with us, and they're willing to come on these tours with us, even if it is just to verify what they felt if they attended that tour, if they've been in it after dark, or in any given moment where they just felt things, and we feel going on the tour with us verifies that they weren't crazy, that it wasn't something that they imagined, and we've been really blessed. But a lot of people don't really count Wyoming as a place with a hot spot of paranormal activity.
It most certainly is the Wild West.
Yeah, because, you're absolutely right, because when you think about Wyoming, I mean, you don't really hear that many stories on TV or anything like that, so people wouldn't think that, you know, it would be a highly active area.
No, a lot of people think we still ride horses and don't know what cars are, so it's kind of funny.
Well, it's the same thing if in Canada. When I'm in Canada, it's the same thing. They think that in Canada we all live in igloos and we're not familiar with it, and it's really a misconception or even a stereotype that a lot of people have. And I was reading too that you invite people to do their own investigation with an official lock-in, and you're saying you have a small apartment. What's that all about?
Oh yeah, I'm working with the owners of the building who are also partnered with us in this and made all of this possible. They've been amazing. I wouldn't have been able to do this without them. And they have a small apartment that sits right by one of the most active places in the school. It's actually just outside the locker room of the gym. And they are going to help me to set that up as kind of a makeshift apartment with a kitchen, a bathroom, and a bedroom, so that teams can come in and stay the night and have their own experiences. And that way we can kind of help to keep the school's reputation, the town's reputation, kind of under guidelines, and still allow people to do their thing freely.
Wow. And me myself, I was born an empath. What are some of the drawbacks, or really not the drawbacks, but what are some of the challenges of being an empath when you're in a particularly active location, and what do you find that you have to do for mental and physical and spiritual well-being?
We actually have to step out of the building quite a few times during an investigation.
Right. Because
and a lot of the challenges that we experience at the school is that, you know, our theory with different investigators, how the energy changes, that the emotions or the feeling of just being followed or being held onto, it gets very, very heavy. And it will wear on you very quickly. And, you know, with Chris and I, we've worked together on, you know, being sensitive in our own different respects, you know, practicing really good psychic self-defense and making sure that we're not putting ourselves so far out there,
right,
that we can't bring ourselves back.
Exactly. But on the other hand, we do want people to be a little more open-minded and embrace maybe the positive aspects of what you are capable of doing. We tell them often when they come with us that we put the lights out because we want them using a sense that they aren't used to using, and see if maybe they don't experience something that they haven't experienced before.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, I was in Wyoming when I was a small child. Is there not a lot of even rock formations there?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's sagebrush rocks. It's got all kinds of different terrains and mountains and desert. It's literally day and night from 30 miles apart from each location.
And
it's unique.
Right.
Hey, what type of equipment do y'all take with y'all on investigations? And what type of protection do y'all use?
Well, I have been looking into how to bless sage and make sage smudging. But we are using the stones as protection as of right now.
Okay, awesome. That's have y'all ever been a part of an exorcism?
No. I haven't. Have you? Okay, Danny has.
I've been, that's a little major league for me. I was part of the paranormal clergy with Bishop James Long for several years.
Right.
Okay. Can you give us an example of something that y'all done, or one of your cases?
We choose to keep the cases completely confidential. What happens is that if a ghost group or a paranormal group suspects that they're having a clergy-related issue, then they contact the paranormal clergy, usually on Facebook, or there's a website. And if it's something that is documented proof that could be a clergy-related issue, then the bishop reviews it, and he will then come on site and work his magic.
Okay, so what because when you say the bishop, are you referring to a Catholic bishop?
Yes, Catholic bishop, James Long. You can find him on Facebook or on the internet, on the website.
So are you Catholic?
I was raised Catholic, and I was also raised pagan.
Okay, let me ask you this question then, because before y'all called, because I had no idea y'all were Catholic. One of you were Catholic. What do you think about what's been going? I know this is a little bit off topic here, but what do you think about what's been going on in the media with these priests lately?
Well, that's kind of off topic, but I know that I know in growing up in the church, it was just a big, huge hush-up thing all the time that there were people being accused left and right, even when I was a very small child in the early 70s. So I know that it's been going on for decades and nobody has done anything about it, and I don't see them doing anything about it other than trying to still sweep things underneath the carpet.
Yeah, that's what we were discussing, because we like to do a discussion on about what's in the news, and that's one of the things that's been in the news. So that's what we were talking about before you called in, and that's a shame that kind of thing has happened within the Catholicism. But yeah,
I know that in the Catholic world, they were starting to bring up more exorcism rites and allowing more exorcisms to happen and allowing some priests to learn those rites. But for many, many years, it was just believed that most people just had mental illness and they were not allowing those exorcisms to even happen in the first place. So I do know that as far as the Catholic community, one of the big things being spoken about is not just the sexual predators from priests and things, but also the exorcisms are starting to come back.
Yeah, we actually worked for the Catholic diocese for a little while, and the problem with that was in the whole North America here in the United States, there was only 3 exorcists in the entire country during that time. I don't know how many they have now, but
I know that they started allowing certain groups and certain dioceses to send people in for training, but it still has to be, hardcore documented proof before they'll allow it.
Yeah. So what's the future for your paranormal group? Where are y'all going with it? What's the future? What do y'all foresee happening?
Well, the biggest drive behind Bodhi is actually I live with a rare condition that is life-altering, to say the least. It restricts everything, and including the right to life and medical care. And the last year, it's been nothing but hardship, and I have somehow remained focused and inspired. And I decided I wanted to leave a little good in the world before it was my time to go. And Bodhi was my way of doing this. I want to start a charity for people that suffer from acute chronic pain and rare diseases. And I want to support the museums that are having such a hard time keeping the doors open. History is we have so much to learn from history and what it has to offer. And I hate to see how far down it's gone.
And let me ask you this question: is it just because I've got 3 people on the phone here? Is this Kristin that just said that?
Yes, this is Kristin.
Okay. You said you have a rare illness.
Yes, it's called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Oh wow, I've never heard of it. And that's is that a terminal condition?
Well, it's a connective tissue disorder. So it's a syndrome, but it has multiple diseases, secondary diseases. A lot of those are things such as POTS with the heart, things with my brain that nobody can really understand or explain. So it's kind of like 1 minute I can be almost normal, and and the next minute I can't leave my bed. So it's a very up and down kind of life.
Wow, we're sorry to hear that.
No, it made me find my strength where it matters, and I'm actually a far better person in this last year than I have been before. There's something so profound about going through this experience that I kind of wish everybody knew what it was to live like you were dying.
I think you've tapped and you've hit the nail really on the head, because I have a condition myself. I won't go into details, but I think when you are teetering on the edge of dealing with mortality, I think it snaps you into reality where, my goal too is to leave an impact or a mark and trying to leave something this world, we whatever time I have left as well. So I really am inspired to hear that we could all just say, you know what, I give up, I'm going to lay down and just take a beating. But you've really you're inspiring others to, we all have good days, bad days, and days where you don't want to get out of bed, but you're inspiring others that you're going to leave an impact with the paranormal team here, and I think that's amazing.
Are y'all still there?
Yeah, we're still here. I think we might have lost Kiley.
Oh, okay. All right. And if you want to go more into detail about the condition Alexandria's got, I'm sure y'all can talk on off the air on that one. But
a question for all the listeners in there, since we're all inspired now, how can people get in contact with you to get involved in the guided paranormal investigations? How can they what's the best way to contact Bodhi Paranormal?
We're pretty easy to reach. We're across most of social media outlets. We're on Twitter. Facebook posts a lot more right now of some of the experiences that we have. So Facebook is definitely one of the outlets we want to look into. We have a website that we're currently working on right now, so it's not quite up and running, but it is in the works. So it would be BodhiParanormal.com.
Okay, awesome. If we end up in Wyoming, are we going to be able to do that apartment with y'all?
Oh yes, we'd love to have you. Everybody's welcome.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, you never know. We might actually end up there.
Yeah, that would be great.
We'd love
to add more venues to our tours too. So
that's awesome.
We're not stopping at Wyoming or Montana. We're going to keep going.
You got it. Yeah, like I said, could you, so these beautiful handmade amethyst protection necklaces, are they just available through your guided investigation tours, or can they?
No, we'll offer those on Facebook and online as well. It's just we just got a team that's able, to work together. And it was me doing all of the work in the beginning, and I'm so glad to have this team. They're just amazing, and I couldn't have done this without them. So now that I have their experiences on board, Dan is actually going to be offering a paranormal investigating class. And then when people are finished with that, they can come on over and do an investigation with us.
For the people listening out there that may be interested in getting one of your necklaces, can you tell them what the price of it is?
Yeah, we're selling those for $5, and the money that we make from that will go to purchasing new gear and going towards our mobile unit so that we can add more places to our tours.
Well, I can tell you, because I've seen it, and I think that you should actually sell it for $10 because it's a very beautiful necklace and it's well made. So.
Well, I appreciate that. We always want to be fair in price. I've been living in poverty for a year, so I never want to put hardship on anyone else.
Yeah,
but I appreciate that.
Well, you never know. You could start your own jewelry chain there and end up on Shark Tank one night. I don't know if you ever seen that show.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, and you never know.
Yep.
That opportunity comes up, we'll take it.
Okay, so do you have any final words for the people out there? And I know we'll have you back in the future again for another guest, and we may even end up doing an investigation with y'all soon.
Yeah, we'd absolutely love to have you, and anybody that would like to join. We just ask that you keep an open mind, an open heart, and courteous, and come join us. We have all the tools you need, and we just want to have a good time.
And so, just back to the Amethyst again, is that Amethyst again that's indigenous to Wyoming? Because I didn't even know that Amethyst was in Wyoming. I learned something new today.
Yeah, I actually obtained this amethyst from a rock shop in Thermopolis, Wyoming, which is about 2 hours from where we are.
Okay, that's awesome.
That's amazing because, like I said, that amethyst pendant that I got in today's mail, and like I said, is absolutely beautiful. And I would encourage everybody out there, if they can get their hands on one of those pendants, to do so. And it's a no-brainer, no hesitation there.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Yeah, we would love for everybody to have a little protection with them.
So what we'll do is we're going to wrap it up now because we're running out of time. You got any final things that you would like to say to people out there?
We just want to thank everybody in the communities that have followed us this far. Thank them for all their support, because we wouldn't be Bodhi if we didn't have each and every one of them play their special roles in who we are.
And before you wrap it up, could you...
Take part.
That's awesome. Could you let our listeners know again who exactly is on your team so your team can be recognized?
Sure. We've got Dusty and Joe, who he had to work tonight, so he wasn't able to make it with us right now. And they've been with me on most tours this far. And then we just brought Danny on board, and Danny is going to be teaching a course for paranormal investigating, and she offers a lot of experience to the team. We have a lot of exciting things coming on board with Danny, so we can't wait to announce them at a little later date. You got myself, Kristin. I'm the founder and creator of Bodhi Paranormal, and we have Kiley, who unfortunately was sent away right after we had decided to do this together. She was with the Army Reserve, and she got sent over to Midwest Wyoming, so she kind of helps me run the Twitter aspect. And wherever I need help on the social media, she'll jump in and help us.
Okay, awesome. Well, all right, thank you very much for being a part of the show, and when this is over, we'll send you the appropriate links, okay?
All right, sounds great. Thank you guys so much for having us.
Thank you for joining us. Have a good night.
You do the same.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, I can tell the people out there listening that it's definitely worth the $10. I know that they don't want to charge too much because they're trying to make it affordable for everybody, but I mean, to be honest with you, if you have the ability to buy one of the necklaces and you can pay double the price, I know that sounds crazy, but they are using the money for paranormal equipment, so I'd recommend the price at $10. So.
And huge honor having Bodhi Paranormal joining us tonight. Kristin Belston, who is the owner, founder, Kiley, Dusty, just bowled over with the positivity that came out of this interview. And again, if you're in Byron, Wyoming, you've got to take in a hosted, guided paranormal investigation. No hesitation, folks.
That's it for me.
Take care.
Later.